Welcome to the 9th Annual Anime Oscars, where we celebrate the best and the brightest from the 2019 year in anime, brought to you by the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. I am here with the whole gang. I have Mandy. Mandy, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you today?
I'm doing quite well. I'm wearing a suit, but don't make no mistake, true to form, I am not wearing pants. And we also have Mason.
I didn't get the memo. I should have wore a suit.
Unfortunately, I have pants on. We expect nothing less of you, Mitsugi, as in literally, how could you wear anything less than no pants?
Well, listen, this is all thanks to you because I saw you wearing a bow tie and I said, wow, my just plain gray t-shirt won't cut it. So I ran into the bedroom and put on a suit just for the listeners. But again,
peer pressure, just for the listeners, baby.
I should have. Then I was like, I don't know how to tie a tie.
And of course, I should mention that this presentation is brought to you by JList.com. Guys, remember, JList and JBox.com are a leading source on the internet for all of your anime, video game, anime figure, and Japanese snack shopping needs. JList is your friend in Japan, and they have a tremendous selection of most any anime or Japan-related merchandise you could possibly want. So be sure to visit JList.com or their non-adult mirror site, JBox.com, for all of your anime shopping needs. But the task at hand here is to discuss and celebrate the 2019 year of anime, and what a great year it was.
It certainly was a year. I'll give it that much.
So we have a list here of some of our favorite shows from the year, of course, and we also have a lot of comments from the audience as well, and the listeners, and of course our Discord channel too. But do we have any? Does anybody have any special thoughts about 2019 before we dive right into our top 10 lists from the year?
Yeah, like I ended up liking a lot of shows this year. And I feel like I went into every season going, this looks a little weak, but I ended up finding a lot of shows that I really loved and enjoyed. So it was a little hard for me to do my top 10 because there are some shows I was like, I really like this show, but I don't have room for it.
You've become adept at finding the diamond in the rough.
Oh yeah.
You just never lose hope, Mandy. Yeah, I think for me, I have some regrets from this year's Anime Oscars because there were some shows from this last year that I finished prior to submitting the nominations for the Anime Oscars, and those shows really weren't represented in the polling, and so I feel kind of bad. I don't know if they would have won or not. We'll get to that in a minute, but there were definitely some shows that I would have added in retrospect, but I guess I'll just give like the small shout out for that show, and then we'll just have to accept the fact that it's not on the list. So how about you, Mason? Anything?
I'm with Mandy. I think that each season I was like, this is going to be a rough one. This isn't going to be that great. And there was always some that really surprised me. But looking back, there wasn't like a ton of like game-changing shows where I'm like, oh, this is like a new favorite or a new thing that I'm just like, this is like the pinnacle of what anime has to offer. Like I feel like 2020 will have in store. So no, a bunch of really solid shows, but no like new favorites in my book.
Okay, well, there's certainly a lot to get through. We have a very long sort of presentation for you today. We're going to be talking about our favorites from 2019. We have a lot of listener statistics from our Discord and from our listener base about their favorite shows and a variety of different categories like their favorite seasons, and we have a lot of different interesting polling items for you to go through. And then, of course, we're going to get to the award ceremony. But first, our top 10 list from 2019, just to kind of give you a little reminder of some of the gems that were sitting out there from 2019, and then maybe even you'll find some great stuff to put on a list for yourself to watch at home. Treat it as a recommendation list, if you will. So, Mandy, would you like to go first? I think if we just go right from 10 to... Would you like to go one at a time, all the way from 10 to 1, or should we just go 10, 9, 8, 7 together?
Let's all just do our own private list, and like I'll do mine, and then we'll move it on to Mason, you.
Okay.
And so my number 10 was a tie because I had a really hard time deciding. It's actually almost a three-way tie because I couldn't decide which one I liked the most. But right now I have Moda Azushi Season 2 and JoJo Part 5 on mine because I end up loving both of them. And I had a lot of fun. I was also debating Dororo, But Dororo had some issues with animation in there that maybe just bump it down a little bit more. But I did love all of them. And then number 9, I had Given because so true to my heart. I love that show so much. And especially for a newer BL series, I think it's one of the best that I have seen.
And I think
Then number
I think you're speaking for Enzo as well, who's not here, but
yes.
surely it would have been on Enzo's list as well.
Oh, for sure. Number 8, I have Beastars. It's not out for everybody yet, but trust me, when it comes out, you guys should check it out. 7, Kaguya-sama, because Love is War, because it's so funny and the direction is fantastic, and the OP is probably my favorite this year. Number 6 was Promised Neverland, because that one is, I mean, I thought it was fantastic for what it was, especially with the, I do think the manga is a little bit better, but I love the characters in Promised Neverland so much. And then there's Seru Mai for what Ikuhara did. His directing in that is fantastic, and I actually learned more about that series that blew my mind because there's a bunch of AR shit with it as well. It was great. And then Run with the Wind, fantastic. And I'll move this along a little bit faster. Number 3 is Mob Psycho Season 2, 2 Demon Slayer, and then number 1 is Vinland Saga.
Ooh,
one of my favorite series of all time.
Vinland Saga.
I was taking up a little bit too much time, so I had to speed it up.
No worries. Did you want to say anything about Vinland Saga though? Like being your number 1 and something that you've been having your eye on for years now?
Yes, because I love the manga. It's my favorite manga series, but for so long I thought this is going to be this is never going to get an adaptation. Like no one is really all that interested in Vikings. I never thought they'd be able to do it because of how much action there is. And what Studio did with it, I think they did a really good job. There are, of course, I do think the action in the manga is a little bit better, but it's what they managed to accomplish with it is really, I thought they did a really good job. So props to Wit Studio and Vinland Saga.
Wit Studio's crushing it. They always do a great job.
Yeah.
So, Mason?
Yeah, so I'll go from 10 to 1. I think the name of the game is picking weird, odd, unique things that surprised me. I originally had more stuff spread out on my list, and I kind of congregated a couple at one slot, so we'll get to that later. But number 10 was Bungo Stray Dogs Season 3. I think this show is not for everyone, but it has a weird aesthetic of, if you're really into authors and literature, the appeal it gives is unique. Number 9 I had was Kaguya-sama, Love is War. Mandy touched on it. I thought it was hilarious. Also equally funny was Outburst Dreamer Boys at number 8. I was just so surprised on how much I enjoyed that show for how dumb and stupid it was. There's a show later up on my list that will have a very similar reason for being there. Number 7 was Run with the Wind. I actually forgot that we could count it because it came out at the end of 2018 and bled over into 2019. And I mean, dumbbells and stuff, I know I've been working out before, but Run with the Wind was like, I watched and I was like, I need to run. I have to run. And it inspired me to run way more than I was expecting. And it had a baller soundtrack that I listen to this day. So got to give it credit. Number 6 was Modao Zushi Season 2. I mean, I was kind of negative on it. I'm like, oh, it's not as good as Season 1, but it's still a real darn good time and I enjoyed it. Number 5 was Vinland Saga for me.
There you go.
It's good. It's good. Number 4 was similar to Outburst Dreamer Boys, was Take My Brother Away Season 3. I'll stick to my guns. This show is literally perfect at knowing how much time it has and does everything with that to be as enjoyable and goofy as possible, and I enjoy it. Number 3 is a 3-way tie between 3 shows that I've seen very little of, but I know that one of them is going to be like some of my favorite stuff, and I'm so excited to talk about them. That's Chihayafuru Season 3, Beastars, and Blade of the Immortal are all just ones that have not finished, but I know confidently that they would be at the top of my list. Number 2 was O Maidens in Your Savage Season, because it is so adorable. And number 1 show for me was Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2. Overcoming my hipster tendencies and just embracing how dang good that show just looked and felt and sounded, and I appreciate it immensely.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2 yet. Otherwise, I'm sure it would be on my list. But based on what I've heard from it, it's just a great show, and I'm hoping to get to that one pretty soon. Do you
Heck
want to
yeah.
say? Do you want to say anything else about Attack on Titan?
No, I've talked about it a little bit before, but I thought season 1 was fine, if that. Season 2 was not great. Season 3 part 1 was a step in the right direction, but something about it was all brought together in a very satisfying way and just was such a satisfying watch. And another phenomenal soundtrack by Sawano that is full of bangers.
And in both parts of season 3, Levi has the best action scenes. Like the animation
Yeah.
in both those scenes is so good.
It's just so well done.
Mhm.
All right, well, I'm going to run through mine here. I'll probably only touch on the ones that haven't already been mentioned. Number 10, Dumbbells. Too much fun, too much machio. I really enjoy that. I think that show inspired a lot of people to go work out. I feel like we should have like a T-shirt for people who got inspired by that show, so we can identify them in the gym or
We
something.
should.
We should have a T-shirt. Then people will just bust out of it.
Well, there you go.
That's true.
Yeah,
We would make so much money because they have to keep buying new ones.
Exactly.
it could be like an intentionally thin and weak shirt, so people can practice like busting their shirt out like Hulk Hogan. So
Exactly. We only sell them in sizes extra small, so people get that extra assistance.
just a lot of fun. I mean, it wasn't like a groundbreaking anime, but I mean, the comedy was there a lot of the time, and I enjoyed watching people weightlift in anime form. Dororo, good show. I enjoyed watching it. It had some great fight scenes. It had some touching moments. People seem to enjoy Dororo quite a lot, and I'm in there with that crowd. Demon Slayer, of course, not a whole lot needs to be said. Promised Neverland at number 7. Rising of the Shield Hero at number 6, sort of controversial pick. I really love Raptalia. She was great. She was like one of my best girls for the year, and I know there's 2 more seasons of that coming out. So hopefully we'll see something. Maybe they'll add to that series and give us something that we're not expecting. Run with the Wind, nominated for best sports anime. Just a touching sort of great drama that I think everybody would love if they've seen it. That time I got reincarnated as a slime. Can't forget that show. I have a sucker for slimes from Dragon Quest, and so watching that little slime bounce around just warmed my heart right, just in the right way. The next 2 are no surprise. Mob Psycho 100 Season 2 is just too good. Mob is just too great of a character, and the action scenes were too awesome to not have it high on the list. Vinland Saga at number 2. It doesn't need to be said anything else about that. We all love Vinland Saga, and it was my number 1 of the year until I finished my number 1, which is my regret for the Anime Oscars this year, is that it didn't get nominated, really, and I would have nominated it surely. But Dr. Stone, my number 1 of 2019, literally took off like a missile after about the first 7 or 8 episodes had finished, and Senku just becoming one of my favorite anime characters very quickly, and his like bromance with Chrome, the other like science user in that anime, just like I love how Dr. Stone did something with shonen that it's like a lot of shonen, they just fight each other and they're punching and kicking, whatever. Dr. Stone is like, it's like that in that it's superhuman, but it's superhuman like science. We're going to build a smartphone from like things that are just sitting around like in the wild, or we're going to create hydroelectric power. Watching them create all that stuff is just so entertaining. And the old man in the show that like makes glass and the woodworking or whatever, every time he has something challenging to make, he just loses his shit. I love it. So Dr. Stone was a huge surprise coming out of nowhere. So yeah. So
Interesting.
Some good top picks. Dr. Stone, Vinland Saga, Attack on Titan Season 3, Part 2, all the top of the list. So I think we covered pretty much everything that needs to be covered on this list. Again, huge thank you to everybody who is our fans and have supported us through 2019. You guys are the blood and life of the podcast. All of you watching live on Twitch. If you want to help out the podcast and support us, you can do it on our website at aaapodcast.com/join. We love you all. You make it possible, and we do our after parties and our hobby addicts and our hentai episodes just for you. And I hope that you'll listen and that you'll sign up and that you'll also join our Discord. Do you guys want to talk about the Discord for a minute before we jump into more of 2019?
Just plug the Anime Club. We're continuing Hanasaka Iraha on the 26th. So, if you were there for that, come back. We would love to have you. But I think the more exciting thing Andy has to talk about.
Yeah, so this Wednesday, the 19th, we are doing our Shonen Showdown, where we are reading the first volumes of Gintama, Bleach, One Piece, and Naruto. I have them here next to me in case you are watching live. And it's going to be really exciting because this is something that we would like to continue doing with other shonen series. And now it's branching out to maybe doing a shoujo showdown or sports showdown. So please come check it out and, talk to us about some good shonen
I think this is
series.
going to be such a fun meeting. I'm so
Yeah.
excited for it.
I am trying to prepare myself for a larger turnout than what we usually get, so some things may change a little. So
Mayhem.
definitely go to the Discord, and you'll get all the information there that you need.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Mason, would you like to talk about some of our listeners' favorite shows from the year?
Yeah, so I guess we can jump into that now. So this is, a side survey poll that I used to put together before we did a lot of this Anime Asker stuff, kind of tangentially, where instead of being gridlocked into the selections of the hosts and the podcast that like do submissions, listeners have a chance to, write whatever they want, and we congregate it. So essentially, we had a bunch of people help out, a ton of people input stuff. We had over 70 different anime represented. And I figured we could go through the top 10 shows, well, some honorable mentions really quick, and as well as I'm not going to go through all the numbers, but if you go to our podcast document, you can see who passed and who is the best host accordingly. So according to our listeners on Discord, the number 10 show was Fruits Basket, which was passed by Mandy. So 1 point for her. The number 9 show was Beastars, also passed by Mandy, so 1 point
Woo!
for her.
Show
Number
off.
8 show was Run with the Wind, also passed by Mandy. So
Show off!
She's up 3-0.
I call shenanigans.
Number 7 was The Promised Neverland, which was passed by Kazuo. Number 6
well, he's not here.
was Dororo, rest in peace, passed by Enzo.
Damn.
So it's 3-1 to 0-0-1. Number 5 was Demon Slayer, passed by Mandy. Number 4 was Sarazanmai, passed by Enzo. Number 3 was Villain Saga, passed by Mandy. Number 2 was Mob Psycho 100, Season 2, passed by Enzo. And number 1, Attack on Titan, Season 3, Part 2, passed by absolutely nobody. We all fail. But, so...
Well, it was outside of our rule.
Yeah,
our
it
passing
was.
rule.
It was.
Jeez.
So,
I didn't get in that
Mitz,
list
you
at
got
all.
Nothing.
You got
you got nothing.
Well, in fairness, Mason, you got nothing as well, but...
So I got one of the honorable mentions.
Oh,
Our
okay.
honorable mentions were Curl and Tuesday.
Come on now.
Which, hadn't finished at the time. Chiayafaru Season 3, which hadn't finished. JoJo Season 5, which was both in last year's list as well. Kaguya-sama, Shield Hero, and Dr. Stone all got honorable mentions as well.
Wow.
It's interesting, Dororo, which was in number 6, and Fruits Basket at number 10, was on no one's number 1 choice. They all made people's top 10 lists, but it was never someone's favorite. I thought that was interesting. Demon Slayer by far appeared on the most number of lists, and with over on 80% of people had it marked somewhere between 1 to 10. And of the people who of the shows, they might not have gotten a ton of votes, but people who did have Sarazanmai and Run with the Wind on their list tended to have them very highly rated. So, people who watch these shows either really liked it or they weren't neutral on it. They tend to like those shows. So I thought that was very interesting. If you compare the host average of the scores we've given to these shows, I thought this was interesting. Enzo's score across the top 10 was a 4.3 out of 5. Mandy's was a 4.1 out of 5. Mitz, you gave a 4.0 out of 5. My score was a little bit lower. I gave a 3.1 out of 5 to what our listeners consider the best shows of 2019. So
Mason hates everything, though.
So, just apply the Mason curve factor into all my scores from now on. And
that has been a thing. We've talked about the Mason curve.
That's how you'll get your answer, what a good show is. So just add a point to everything I've given, and that will do it. So more numbers in there, but...
Why does the bottom of this table say no mitts with a frowny face at the bottom?
It's because you didn't pass any of the shows that that were on this list.
I can't help if I'm in like a whole different like plane of thought here. You know, I mean, I might be out in left field. I might be getting senile in my old age, but damn it, I'm trying.
Well, I also think you have to consider that Enzo and Kazuo sometimes will just try to pick the most popular shows at the beginning of a season. Now, they're not as adventurous. They're not pushing the envelope like you. So I think
Wow.
you can pat yourself on the back with that.
Well, I would, but I can't. I don't think I can reach behind me with this suit jacket on. So I'm just gonna, you know, metaphorical pat on the back, maybe. I don't know.
So, moving on, and this next thing is probably actually one of my favorite things to look at, which is what the listeners consider to be the best season of the year, and kind of how do
Love
we
it.
objectively rate that. So I have it in 3 different ways. First, we asked each listener what they thought the best season was by whatever metric that they want to use, whether it had their favorite shows, whether all the shows in that season were the best, or what have you. By far, 34.4% of people said spring was the best,
Interesting.
followed by winter. So, you know, those were the top 2 when people
But-
were asked which their favorite is. However, if you break all the shows, all 70 shows that got votes on lists, and saw what season they were within, it was almost a 25% even split across all 4 seasons. So each season generated shows that people were watching and enjoying, which I thought was interesting.
Isn't it fairly normal though that spring and winter are the best seasons? I mean,
And I guess what I'm trying to get at is, you know, why is that the case? Because it's not so much like like Oscars, for example, like with movies where they're like, well, no one's going to remember movies from January or February or March, so they like front load the first half of the year with what some might say subpar movies and save their Oscar bait till later. Like anime, in my mind, really doesn't have that sort of system for doing it.
okay.
So I guess people do say that, and I was trying to dig at, you know, is there any truth to that? Is there any...
I always just thought that the seasons kind of saved the meatiest shows for the seasons, you know, when I don't know, like in the summer everybody's out like playing outside and they're not really watching anime, so they don't put things out in the summer. That was always my theory, you know. And in the winter, you know, they're inside freezing to death, so they watch anime all the time on TV. I don't know.
True.
There may be no truth to that.
But then you look at our list and you say, well, like Vinland Saga and Dr. Stone came out in the summer. Now, sure, they spanned a bit, but they started in the summer.
Was Demon Slayer spring? I believe it was.
Yes. If you scroll up, I have the season that they started in.
Okay. I also I haven't been doing this for very long, but I remember last year when we did our Oscars, spring was always the highest one then too. And I remember us having a really difficult time passing shows because there were so many that we all wanted to pass. We had to fail things that we were pretty positive on.
So I have
don't
the
know.
data from last year, for example. So 2018, the number of unique shows per season, which means the number of shows that the listeners thought were good enough for top 10. Spring far and away won that. Like 33% of the vote, or 33% of the shows came out in spring. However, if you ask listeners what their favorite season was, about 45% of them said fall was by far their favorite, followed by winter. And spring only got like 17% of the vote. So, no, maybe a lot of good stuff came out in spring, but not as great quality as fall provided.
Maybe there's just that one show. Like, I think people are going to probably pick the season that they like the most based on that one show that they really like.
It's possible.
Really into, so maybe that sways their opinion. But if you look at it deeper, you're like, oh wait, but this season had a more variety of shows, where this one just had my favorite.
And I think that could vary based on, you know, maybe someone doesn't watch a lot of shows. They watch
Yeah.
maybe 1 or 2 a season, and, you know, it's just which show was better is my favorite season.
Yeah, not everybody watches 13 episodes a day, like somebody here on this podcast.
Hey. No need to
I don't know
call
who
out
that
names.
I don't know who that could be, but
Listen, we have so much to talk about next week. It is going to be
Yeah,
a very
it's-
fun time.
it's insane.
What other kinds of interesting statistics did you gather, Mason?
I didn't try to take too many statistics because I didn't want this to be a bogged down numbers show.
Oh, come on, but like
I know we'll do that later.
some of us are like, data nerds, and we like, that's what we live for.
I'll leave that to you. I'll leave that to you later. If people want to know, they can look at the spreadsheet.
Okay, guys. Well, we do have an awful lot of more interesting things to get to. Of course, we have a lot of awards to get through. How many awards do we have? Even like something like 15 of them.
I think it's 15.
Yeah, just a lot of really great content to get to, and we're gonna get through the artistic awards where people have said like their favorite songs. We're gonna get through the worst anime of 2019, which may or may not be a surprise to anybody, and of course we're gonna get to the best anime of 2019. But we have to have a news break here because this is television, and of course we have to let the sponsors do the talking.
Before we go, I just want to apologize if you're watching live. The overlay's all messed up because I wasn't entirely sure how we were going to do this. So you just see the awards at the bottom. So
That's right.
Not the introduction. Sorry about that.
Well, the awards are what really matter anyway. So no harm done.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Well, we will be back after a short news break with the awards ceremony. So, definitely don't go anywhere because I think that's why you're here anyway. So stay tuned. Hey, all you anime addicts, this is Mitsugi, and I am here bringing you your first anime news break, leading us off with some happy news from Paramount Pictures. About a year ago, people were panicking over the appearance of Sonic the Hedgehog, noting that he looked a little bit creepy on the screen, but having been remade into a vision of himself that represents more of what he was from the video games. It looks like the Sonic film has been a huge success, posting a 4-day opening weekend of $68 million for the hero, making this the highest grossing opening weekend of any video game movie ever, and actually any anime movie as I can remember in the United States. A huge success, and it looks like there could be sequels pending as to the subject matter of the film itself. And for those of you that are fans of Sonic the Hedgehog, rejoice that the CG makeover was a success. Fans seem happy, the reviews have been good, and maybe we'll get a sequel sometime down the road from Paramount Pictures. And next up, it looks like the second season of High Score Girl, which is based on Densuke Oshikiri's High Score Girl manga, is going to be on Netflix starting on April 9th. It's pretty good news that we have been waiting for it for quite a while, as the 9-episode second season did premiere in Japan clear back in October on the 25th. So for those of you that are fans of Netflix and like watching anime on there, you no longer have to wait. High Score Girl Season 2 coming to Netflix on the 9th of April. Next up, last night was the Crunchyroll Awards for 2019, which came and went with much fanfare from a lot of the anime industry. And the Anime of the Year winner, for those of you that haven't heard already, it was indeed Demon Slayer, or Kimetsu no Yaiba, which came to almost no one's surprise. What was probably surprising was Best Animation going to Mob Psycho 100 Season 2, after Demon Slayer won a landslide in the Best Animation category from Funimation, bringing a lot of unhappy responses across social media. Other winners included Best Boy Tanjiro from Demon Slayer, Best Girl Raptalia from The Rising of the Shield Hero, Best Score was Maki from Carole & Tuesday, and Best Drama Vinland Saga, Best Fantasy Promised Neverland, Best Comedy Kaguya-sama Love is War. So for those of you that are fans of anime, you might want to watch their award show anyway in retrospect and just enjoy the celebration of anime that came in 2019. And wrapping us up, it looks like a message was flown over the Oscars this past week. It looks like Screen Rant reported that a banner reading hashtag Alita Army and hashtag Alita sequel flew over the Dolby Theater in Los Angeles, where that 92nd Academy Awards were being held. The Alita Army Online took credit for the stunt, saying that they want to have a sequel to the movie made. They raised $1,800 through a GoFundMe, which were used to fly the plane over the stadium, and then the remaining money is going to be donated. But for those of you that are fans of Alita, someone else is doing your battle for you, I guess, as they are trying to make themselves known by flying planes over events. This is me, Itsuki, and this was your anime news break. And now, time to get back to the podcast. Hey, all you anime addicts out there, remember that JList and JBox.com are a leading source on the internet for all of your anime, video game, anime figure, and Japanese snack shopping needs. JList is your friend in Japan and have a tremendous selection of most any anime or Japan-related merchandise you could want. So if you want to support the podcast and show your dedication as an anime addict, head over to JList.com or the non-adult mirror site JBox.com, and you'll be able to find any of your favorite anime figures, video games for your favorite console, snacks from Japan, anime DVDs, calendars, t-shirts, and so much more. You'll be able to satisfy all of your anime shopping needs over at JBox or JList.com.
Hi, this is Tiffany Grant. Remember me? Oscar Langley Soryu. Anyway, I'm a total anime addict, and if you're not listening to Anime Addicts Anonymous, what are you, stupid?
And we're back from our news break. And now it's time for that moment that we've all been waiting for, where we announce the winners from 2019. You all have made your voices very heard over the course of the last month, and we're here to let you know the results, and I will be putting the results up on the screen after we announce the winners, so you can get a better look at the data and how the different results sort of panned out. But of course, I want to thank all of the podcasts that nominated shows for us. We do have a system where we invite different podcasts from around the world to nominate what they think are the best shows from 2019 or from whatever year we're working with. And then based on the poll that they sort of build with their nominations, we allow all of you to vote. And so I want to thank those anime podcasts right now, starting with Nerddom and Other Nonsense. Please check out them. My Anime Podcast, Recovery of an Anime Junkie, Anime World Order, Anime Summit, Anivision, and Otaku Spirit all contributed to our nominations this year. So thank you guys, and I recommend that people that are listening do check out our friends at these other podcasts that did help us put all of this together. So big round of applause, and thanks to all of them. So since we are big nerds here with, at least I'm a big nerd here with the statistics, we have some stats here. We had 4,826 total votes cast, of which 579 of them were abstaining votes. So we do give you the option to sort of abstain. It's like, oh, well, I haven't seen any sports anime because I don't watch sports anime, so I don't really feel like voting. Rather than having you just pick something random, because for the sake of answering the poll, we give you the option to sort of not vote. But you vote, but you're not voting. And that kind of, we hope makes the poll a little more accurate.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate the abstain vote because it, like you said, captures, the opinions better.
Yeah, and it's something like, that was something like 12% of all the votes. So that is being used. It does matter. 92 different anime got at least one vote in some category. So a lot of shows here being represented. That's like almost half the shows that came out last year. So lots of different representation here across anime. And of course, the most nominated shows of the year were, the first one was Promised Neverland, was nominated in 7 categories, which is just a ton. Demon Slayer, Vinland Saga, Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2, and Carol and Tuesday all nominated in 5 categories. So you're going to see a lot of those as well. I'm sure you're not surprised. And of course, I want to touch on the nomination rules here real quick, because people will say, well, why wasn't this nominated, et cetera, et cetera. The polls are made up of only anime that concluded in 2019, which means that there's a lot of shows here that ran for part of 2018 as well, but ended in the 2019 year. So don't get confused. There are shows that started in like November 2018 that ran until like the end of January. Those are also included, and only anime series are included. There's no films, no OVAs, specials. All that stuff has been excluded. So it's only anime series. So maybe that will help to clear up any confusion that you have. Won't be playing any award music here because we were on Twitch and don't want to get in trouble. But without any further ado, let's start with the awards. People have been waiting. We got quite a few people watching, and we're gonna start with some of these like, softer sort of, just the artistic awards. We're not gonna start out with the big stuff here, but as they do with regular Oscars, we got to get through like best makeup and all that as well. So we have best animation, which is style and quality. Lots of good stuff nominated in this category. And the nominees for Best Animation for 2019 are Mob Psycho 100 Season 2, Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2, Beastars, and Vinland Saga, all nominated in this category. And the winner for our first award, Best Animation, is indeed going to be Demon Slayer. So people probably expected that in some part, and here's the polling data here on the site for you to look at. Demon Slayer ran away with this, 49% of the total vote, half the vote, probably the biggest landslide of any of the categories here. Although I will say...
Yeah, I'm scrolling through. It's by far the biggest.
Yeah, and Mob Psycho 100 Season 2 definitely put up a fight, which took up another 23%, but other than that, everybody else kind of fighting over scraps, as Demon Slayer has come out on top as by far the leader here in this category. Why don't we just rotate here between the three of us? Mandy, would you like to take the best writing?
Sure. Did anybody have any words that they would like to say about the Demon Slayer animation? I was going to say that I'm not upset about this because UFO Table did a fantastic job.
I mean,
they did.
There were some moments in Demon Slayer in the animation that were just simply mind-blowing.
Yeah.
I think it was like episode 19 maybe, where he had the fight with the spider sort of demon, and some of that animation was just blistering. I mean, from start to finish, especially to be a 26-episode show, to just carry that animation quality from start to finish like that. I mean, I don't know what else can be said. I mean, the studio itself has proven itself already to be one of the best in terms of animation, but you can really tell that they sensed the popularity of Demon Slayer and they went for it and carried that popularity in a good way over to the anime. And I think you're going to see many more seasons of Demon Slayer to come, which will probably all look great. So
I think the key word here was consistency. I feel like you could point to moments of Mob Psycho or Attack on Titan that might have looked better, but from start to finish, every episode of Demon Slayer was solid. And there was not like, oh, look at those janky horses, or look at these janky frame rates. Like, just every scene looked just so well put together, and the CGI was incorporated so well that, yeah, I don't have a problem with this at all.
All right.
So the next category is Best Writing or Screenplay. The nominations were Promise Neverland, Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2, Vinland Saga, Kaguya-sama, Carol and Tuesday, and Oh Maidens in Your Savage Season.
Oh Maidens.
And the winner is Vinland Saga.
There we go, Vinland Saga.
Do we have the percentage? I don't see it on there.
It is 20... Nope, never mind, I can't.
The percentage for Vinland Saga was 24%. So
okay,
yeah, and followed up pretty closely by other shows. But yeah, I mean, Vinland Saga. I don't think it's that shocking that the writing was just amazing.
Yeah.
So to give you guys an idea, I love Vinland Saga. I can't wait for more. I know it's a long. I know there's a lot of more material to get to. I'm sure they're going to adapt an awful lot of it, and I mean, geez, like, just from starting off like hating Askeladd to the fact that he became such a fantastic character by the end of that show, it just really shows like how much and what kind of a command they had over pretty much everything in terms of the writing on that show. And I wasn't let down at all by it. That was another one of those shows where I ended up binging it, and it was just like this smooth as butter the whole time, from start to finish. Loved it. Loved every minute. So.
Yep. It's my favorite manga, and I think they did a great job adapting the story into animation.
All right. What do we have next, Mason?
Next, we have Best OP. Did we have a Best ED on this?
We did
I don't
not.
know. I'll talk about it afterwards. But anyway, Best OP. This one was a pretty close call, if you will see. The nominations were Domestic Girlfriend, Dororo, Carol and Tuesday, Kaguya-sama, Vinland Saga, and How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift? And the winner for Best OP by the narrowest of margins
Oh, yeah.
is Dororo.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's right.
I thought this was interesting because in our in the Discord poll where people were unbounded by the judges, the winners tied for first was Fire Force and Demon Slayer, followed by in third place Dororo, and Kaguya-sama also got a bunch of love. So, a lot of stuff that showed up in this one, but Fire Force wasn't even a option in this one, and I've heard good things about those OPs, obviously.
Yeah, no, the Dororo OP was one of my favorites. I think Kaguya-sama was probably my favorite overall, but I remember saying Dororo's OP was fantastic. I love the direction of it, and I also just like the song as well.
Yeah, both very good. I want to make a mention. We had ED in the other poll, and it was actually a 3-way tie between Vinland Saga's ED2, which was spectacular, Sarazanmai's ED, which kind of like bled out of the episodes really well, and Domestic Kanojo. So Domestic Kanojo, I guess, did well in both OP and ED to make up for the show in the middle of it, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I don't know why I agree that Fire Force had a really fantastic opening. It's one of those things. Sometimes shows just get overlooked or they get forgotten. I don't know. My theory would be that maybe the people nominating didn't like Fire Force, and so they didn't. It wasn't on the front of their mind when they were nominating. But I mean, who knows really?
For sure.
So,
and that's why we run the 2 polls, because we get interesting results like that.
You got it covered.
Moving on. What do we got, Mitz?
So the next poll is the poll for best score. So we have best opening, but there's also best music. Can't forget about that. And every show has fantastic music, but some of them stand out just a little more than others. And of course, you're going to have some music shows in this category, of course. The nominees for best music are Vinland Saga, Demon Slayer, Given, Carol and Tuesday, and Run with the Wind. Those are, of course, you got some music shows in there. And the winner of best music, best score, is going to be Carol and Tuesday. So there you go. And not particularly close, with 40% of the vote, followed up by Demon Slayer with 20%. So pretty much a landslide. Surprised a little bit to see Given that far down the list, but now in hindsight that I'm thinking about it, Given didn't really have a tremendous amount of music in the show. They only really performed like 2 times, I think. But Carol and Tuesday, yeah, standing out.
The soundtrack for Carol and Tuesday is also available on iTunes, and I listened to it quite a lot. There's a lot of really good songs on there.
And the other poll from the Discord perfectly matches this one. Carol and Tuesday won, followed by Demon Slayer. So, no, hell is in order.
This probably would have made our boy Enzo very happy as well, because I'm sure that he would have been pulling for Carol and Tuesday. So, okay, well, now we're getting into the character awards. We know there's got to be like a best actor, best actress, or as we will call best boy, best girl. So, please take it away with best boy.
I'll take it away with the best boy of all anime in 2019. The submissions were Tanjiro from Demon Slayer, Shigeru from Mob Psycho Season 2, Thorkel from Vinland Saga, Askeladd from Vinland Saga, Inosuke from Demon Slayer, and Machio from Dumbbells. If you look at that list, you probably cannot figure out which one I voted for.
Nope.
But the winner is Tanjiro from Demon Slayer.
There you go.
And Tanjiro won with I don't see the
22%.
Okay, thank you.
22%. Yeah. So but followed up pretty closely by Askeladd there. So Definitely. We had 2 Demon Slayer and 2 Vinland Saga nominations, so it's interesting to have so many different.
Yeah, sorry about the pie
Mhm.
chart. Like some of the colors are so similar, it's really hard for me to read it.
Yeah, it's because there's so many nominations that
Yeah.
and poor Google Forms is like, you have too many in the legend, too many.
Yeah.
Some interesting people that won in the Discord thing that didn't show up on this one was Haiji from Run with the Wind,
Mhm.
Oh, it's
Legosi
a good
from
one.
Beastars, Maki from Stars Align, and Soma from Shokugeki Food Wars. So those are all bunch of good boys. Bunch of good boys this
Tanjiro is
season.
a really good boy. He's so sweet and pure.
He is.
But also Mob. Mob is like everyone's son, so I would have been happy with either
There's
of
a
them.
very distinct line in the sand of aesthetics between the two
True.
camps, but Machio is the only one that spans both of them, I think. He's
Machio.
right in the middle. He's got the good boy on one side, he's got the bad boy on the other.
I do love Machio.
Yeah,
No,
he is
mine was
great.
Thorkel, because I mean, come on, Thorkel is the best boy.
Can't not have him. Can't not have him. Moving on, we have
That's right.
the best girl,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess it falls on me to announce the nominees. We have Nezuko from Demon Slayer. We have Reftalia from Shield Hero. We have Voice Crack from Mason. You'll hear why my voice is so terrible.
He's
in
a
the
sick boy
hobby.
today.
A little bit. We have Chika from Kaguya-sama. We also have Kaguya from Chika-sama. We have Yumiko from Kakegurui, and we have Emma from Promise Neverland.
Strong category.
And yeah, another pretty close call, but the winner was Chika from Kaguya-sama.
That's right. Followed up
Do the dance. Do the
so
dance.
narrowly by Raptalia by less than 1%. I think this might have been the closest category that we had. So the pie chart is again difficult to read because there are indeed three different items with a shade of red. However, the top red one you see on the screen there is Raptalia. So pretty close.
Memes, post the memes, do all the memes.
I love our listeners. Because
There you
Chica
go.
is my girl. I love Chica.
She's worth a vote.
Sad.
She's worth a vote for the ramen eating scene towards the end of that anime by itself. So, I mean, she did handle that bowl of ramen like a pro, I will say.
Some people who won. We actually had a 4-way tie for best waifu in the Discord,
Wow.
and with only one of the people that appeared on this list, we had Hibiki from Dumbbell,
Okay.
Nezuko from Demon Slayer, who also won the best Emoto award, which we didn't have in this poll, but she won that one handedly. Honda from Fruits Basket, and Hina from Domestic Kanojo all were tied in the other poll. So, very interesting, very amusing.
All right. Well, now we have a category where that's Mitsuki loves his sports. I mean, it is what it is, and been a sucker for sports for such a long time, and I'm glad to see that every year. Wow, it's not the fullest category, the biggest genre out there. It still gets pretty good representation each and every year, and it makes me pretty happy. So, the sports category nominees are How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift, Run with the Wind, Stars Align, and Captain Tsubasa. And of course, I'm sure that some of you probably will realize that we are not indeed reading every nominee because there are a lot of them in some categories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the top 4 to 6 of them.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see them on the pie chart, but we're not reading them all because some of them just didn't get a lot of vote. And other than Abstain, which actually won this category technically, the winner of Best Sports Anime is How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift, with about 25% of the vote. Followed up not that far behind by Run with the Wind in second place. So,
Run with the Wind is so good. This does make me sad. I mean, Dumbbells was funny though.
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of this has to do with the amount of people that watch the show, and I think that Dumbbell was a very heavily watched show that was a lot of fun, and honestly very memorable. I mean, Machio's pecs alone, pretty memorable. So, you just can't forget that. So, all right. So yeah, there's the winner, and of course you can see the poll in the live chat for those of you that are watching.
You'll notice if you look very closely at the pie chart that Keijo did not receive any submissions. I wonder why. It must just not be good. Just ignoring the fact that it didn't come out and didn't qualify, it just must not be good.
Yeah, no one voted for Keijo because Keijo is the worst. It was a mistake.
No one would make such a grave mistake.
Oh, come on.
We're just kidding.
So much booty.
We're just salty.
Alrighty, so our next category is Best Fantasy of 2019. The submissions were Promised Neverland, Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2, Demon Slayer, Shield Hero, That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, and Ascendance of a Bookworm. The winner is Demon Slayer.
Oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
And they won with 28.4% of the votes.
Yeah, pretty easy.
Yeah. The next one down was Attack on Titan, Season 3, Part 2 at 18.5%. It's a pretty big difference.
Pretty big difference, yeah.
This is, when we start getting into these next round of awards, which are the genre-based ones, it's always so hard for me because I'm like, do you give it to the show that's the best show that has this genre as a part of it, or do you give it to the show that's the best representation of that genre? I could think that Attack on Titan is the best thing since sliced bread, but in my mind, it's not a fantasy show in the same way that Bookworm is, or even
Slime.
Demon Slayer, Slime, for example. Those definitely fulfill that aesthetic of what a fantasy is to me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how I would judge it, but I'm not disappointed with these results at all.
I'm also not surprised.
All right. Well, next we have a new category.
Yes, indeed. The best
It was going to
isekai.
happen.
The best isekai anime with a very,
It had to happen.
very amusing pie chart to go with it. But the nominees for best isekai are Reincarnated as a Slime, Rising of the Shield Hero, Ascendance of a Bookworm, Cautious Hero, and Sword Art Online. I'm not gonna
Alicization.
Alicization. You heard it.
It's not even a
not
word.
from me, folks.
Is that a word? I have no idea.
It is now.
It is now.
And the winner for best isekai was Rising of the Shield Hero.
There you go. And
That was with a pretty commanding 28.4% of the vote, but a lot of these shows got a decent chunk besides the worst ones.
Slime wasn't too far behind.
No.
yeah, I think this is another function of people having clearly watched some shows in predominance for sure. So Shield Hero was a very polarizing show that I think a lot of people watched. One, to see what all the fuss was about, and two, it just generally was watched heavily to begin with. So, and is a name that everyone remembered, I think. So, but I enjoyed a lot of these shows. The Reincarnated as a Slime was a lot of fun. Cautious Hero was just flat out funny. Loved it. And so there you have it. There's the winner. It's not really that surprising considering Raptalia nearly won the other category, so it was probably telegraphed a little bit. So, all right, well, now we are on what I think is probably the most competitive category other than the best overall, and that is best drama. There's a ton of shows that fall into the best drama category because you've technically even sports shows are considered. Even sports is considered a drama at times.
Is drama a sport? Some might say so.
So a lot of shows in this category. This is a very meaty one. The nominees are Promised Neverland, Beastars, O Maidens in Your Savage Season, Stars Align, Carolyn Tuesday, and Baby Lawn. Just kidding.
Baby Lawn. That is
right.
what it's called, yes.
And the winner by, honestly, a landslide is Promised Neverland. Not close at all. With 28.5% of the vote. Followed up in a distant second, probably will make Mandy happy. Beastars came in second.
Yeah, that was my nomination for it.
Yeah. And in third place, Abstain, of course. So,
not upset about Promised Neverland, though. I really enjoyed that show a lot.
No, I mean
It's not a drama. Like that's not what makes the show good.
What else
It's
would you
not-
call it?
It's like
Horror.
fantasy or action more so.
It's got a lot of-
There's not a
it's
lot of action
stuff.
in it.
suspense.
There's action. You see them playing tag. That's some
Oh
intense
yeah,
tag.
action tag. Yeah.
Spooky tag.
Oh my gosh. All right, you crazy guys.
The next category is best comedy, and the winner of this one won by a landslide.
Oh yeah, crushed it.
So the nominations were Kaguya-sama Love is War, How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift, Ore Suki, which I have not seen, but
Me
apparently
Me neither.
I've heard good things about it though. The Quintessential Quintuplets, and Hitori Bochi, another one I have not seen yet. But the winner is Kaguya-sama Love is War.
Yeah, murdered it.
Yeah, it was a
Not
really
even-
good show.
Literally half
So
the pie
good.
chart. Yeah.
That was also my nomination.
All right. Mandy's flexing.
Exactly.
I gotta
Yeah.
bust out my
Oh,
dumbbells.
she's showing her
She's
guns.
flexing all day. You know,
Guns.
we say
Sin.
Machio once, and she's like, "Oh, what are these?"
I know, we're gonna have to go on break so I can change my shirt. I'm busting out of
Exactly.
it.
I'm
We
trying
need
not
to
to.
order the new AAA podcast. I'm just flexing over here shirt designed to help people be the macho that they want to be.
If I flex in this suit, I'm afraid I'd bust the sleeves off. So I'm gonna have to just gonna relax, stay calm.
Yeah,
No-
stay cool, my dude. Stay cool.
No thoughts of Machio. Just stay. Okay. All right, we're good. All right. And now a fan favorite category probably coming right up.
Yeah, we'll rip through this. This is Best Action Adventure. The nominees are Attack on Titan, Mob Psycho 100, Demon Slayer, Vinland Saga, and JoJo's Part 5. And the winner is Vinland Saga. I think no debate there. Honestly, a pretty close pie chart, between the top three, so pretty solid. But I think this, usually action / adventure gets grouped together.
Yeah.
I think Vinland Saga best exemplifies both action and the adventure that goes with it.
Mhm.
And I mean, you look at a show like Mob Psycho, which had phenomenal action scenes, but like they didn't really travel, they didn't journey anywhere. Vinland Saga had both in spades, and
Mhm.
obviously, easily, a great pick for this.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm a little surprised that JoJo didn't do better. I mean, there was an awful lot of talk about this season of JoJo, and they get not even 10% of the vote. It's a little surprising, but
I wonder
didn't-
if the ending really hurt JoJo Part 5. There have been a lot of people upset about it.
I'm not sure, but it didn't seem to do well in pretty much any category it was in. So I have no idea. Maybe it's just
It could
our
also be
audience.
because it's season 5 and it's pretty long, so maybe a lot of people didn't watch it.
Could be.
And it
I know.
was like a 2018 show that kind of poured over into 2019.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right. And the next category is, of course, it's a crowd favorite. What can I say? Everybody loves nestled there, just very snugly right about in the middle of the audience. There's a big litter box where Cornelius the cat mascot and all of the other cats of anime go and they just take a big poop. And those poops represent, we'll just say, not the brightest, some of the dimmest stars in anime. They're still stars, but they're not quite as bright as the others, and they smell a little ripe. And that is why this worst of 2019 category is known as the Pooper Scooper, which is where we take revenge on the shows that have hurt us in the prior year. And the nominees for worst of 2019, the Pooper Scooper, are One Punch Man Season 2, Domestic Girlfriend, Try Nights, The Rising of the Shield Hero, Copcraft, and Arifureta, which I have no idea what that is. And the
I
winner...
think someone did an impression on that one. I
It's
can't
bad.
remember.
That's what it is.
Okay. And the winner, a little surprising, but maybe also not so much. The loser, I guess, of the category is One Punch Man Season 2 with 19.6% of the vote. And I realize that I typoed the title of the category, which, but you get the point. People just hated this anime. This is definitely like, let's be honest, not really the worst anime of 2019, but people just were so pissed off about One Punch Man that they're just obviously taking revenge against it in this moment.
I think in something like this, like obviously I do think that like Copcraft and there are some other ones on there like The Price's Smiles.
Fred Smiles. That was my submission.
Yeah, Copcraft is mine. And I was like, those may have been like I may personally think those are worse than One Punch Man season 2, but I think One Punch Man season 2 was the biggest disappointment for people. I feel like maybe more people watched that and were hurt by it, and probably not a lot of people watch Copcraft because they're like they heard the talk and were like, I'll just avoid it. So of course they're not going to vote for it. So
well,
I think that's why probably.
I'll tell you right now that I personally voted for Copcraft because that show tried so hard to win this category. It literally had a girl shit in a litter box in its runtime. So it was literally just a show that was pandering to this category, and yet it still just couldn't do it. Measly 7%.
Domestic Girlfriend was also going for this pooper scooper award. You guys know what I'm talking about.
They were trying to scoop out that poop, my dude.
Oh,
you
my
know
goodness.
what I'm talking about.
Oh,
From
my God.
the Discord, their two worst shows that lost, quote unquote, by a landslide weren't even on this list. Number one was Do You Love Your Mom and her 2-hit multi-target attacks, which I think Mandy did a impression on.
I was
That
very
was pretty
disappointed.
bad. The other one was the sequel to Handshakers, which was Wiz.
Wiz.
Like W apostrophe Z.
This is so terrible.
Those two were by far the worst in that poll. So a lot of bad stuff out there. So very exciting.
Yeah, some of these titles are just bizarre. So Wiz. What? Okay. Next up.
The next one is Best Studio. This is an exciting one. So, which studio showed us the best that they can be in 2019? The nominations were Bones, Mappa, Production IG, and UFO Table, and Wit Studio. The winner was, unsurprisingly, UFO Table.
AKA Demon Slayer.
Although it didn't win by a massive amount. UFO Table got 27.2% of the votes, and shortly behind it, Wit Studio got 24.1%. So,
That's right.
And I think personally, mine was Wit Studio because between Vinland Saga and Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2, I think they did a phenomenal job this whole year. I mean, I didn't get to see the Fate seasons though, so maybe that also gave UFO Table a massive boost. That and Demon Slayer, of course.
I think I would have picked Wit, but Mandy beat me to it. So I picked Studio Bones because they did, Mob Psycho, they did Bungo Stray Dogs, and a bunch of other really cool stuff that.
I forgot they did Bungo.
Yeah, they did. They did a bunch of real nice stuff. So that was my suggestion, only because Wit was already taken.
IG did Run with the Wind.
They did.
What else did they do this year? Or last year?
Did they also do Boogie Pop? I don't remember.
Not
might
sure.
have been
remember.
That might have been Madhouse.
Yes, it was Madhouse. I do remember that now. I don't know.
Look it up in the meantime. I figured I'll let Mitz do the best of the year. So I'm going to run through a couple last second Discord polls that we did.
Go for it.
Just shout out a couple shows before we get to the last thing. We asked people what the comfiest show of the year was. The winners were Roommate is a Cat, Hitori Bochi, and Senko-san, which is like the Helpful Fox one. So check those out. I asked listeners what the most WTF moment was of the year. Some good responses were Promise Neverland. Some of the body mutilation at the end of that threw people off. All of Stars on My was a very often response, just the whole show. Moments from Attack on Titan, Babylon, Astra Lost in Space, and JoJo all had people scratching their heads for better or worse.
The torture dance.
I asked, listeners, what's the anime that you didn't get around to watching, but you're the most excited for? Surprisingly, Vinland Saga, but I think because it came out so much at the end of the year, they just hadn't gotten out to it. Beastars, The Promised Neverland, and obviously Curl and Tuesday, but that makes sense because it didn't fully drop until 2020. Finally, what is the show that listeners are the most excited for in 2020. No surprise, a lot of these are sequels. Promised Neverland Season 2, ReZero 2, Snafu Season 3, Laid Back Camp Season 2, Fruits Basket 2, and Idolish 7 Season 2. Gotta look out for the Idol boys. And yeah, we can do listener comments at the end, but I think we're ready. I think we've kept people waiting long enough.
Thank gosh, I just can't
Let's
wait
do it.
anymore. All right, well, we have a lot of great anime in this final category. I'm actually going to read all the nominees for it, which we haven't done up until now, but I'm going to read them all. Quite a few, and you know, I think we really did capture for the most part all the best shows from the season in this list. So we're now going to get to the best overall anime for 2019. The full list is A Sentence of a Bookworm, Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2, Babylon, Beastars, Bungo Stray Dogs Season 3, Carol and Tuesday, Demon Slayer, Dororo, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5, Love is War Kaguya-sama, Mob Psycho 100 Season 2, Sada-zan Mai, and Vinland Saga, all rolling out like a list of the who's who from 2019. And the winner of Best Anime of 2019 is...
The suspense.
Come on, guys. It's Demon Slayer.
Obviously.
And there it is, Demon Slayer. But not by a large margin, because it only had 22.8% of the vote, followed up very closely with 19.4% by Vinland Saga. A close second place. Third place, Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2. The three anime combining for roughly like 65% of the total vote, I think. If my math is
And
correct.
honestly,
It's probably not, but...
I think it's very impressive that Vinland Saga was not that far behind, considering
Yeah.
it's on Amazon Prime, and a lot of people just don't watch Amazon Prime shows. So I think that did really well.
Yeah. So, and I think that's pretty much what we've been seeing across every website or every award show that does any of this. It's the same shows. It's Demon Slayer, it's Vinland Saga, it's Attack on Titan, it's Mob Psycho. These are the four anime that have dominated the year for last year, and you know, they have eaten up most of the poll for us as well. So it's kind of hard to deny it at this point, no matter what your audience is, no matter where you're from. Demon Slayer, Vinland Saga, these are the best shows from 2019, and you know, I think we all watched those for the most part, and they were indeed really good. So you know, it's probably well deserved. Demon Slayer winning a lot of categories tonight, probably the most, more than any other category. So. And the chat is a little torn, I think. They all were kind of pulling for different things, but you know, not everything can win. Only one can be the winner. So, but I have a feeling that you'll probably see you may see Vinland Saga win next time. Now that people realize how great it is, and it's gonna have an even larger audience the second time around. Of course, you may have Demon Slayer right there with it. So we might have a rivalry born here. We have the Demon Slayer Vinland Saga rivalry, because you can probably bet both of these shows are going to have 3 seasons at least. So
I don't know. I think Vinland Saga has a bigger barrier for entry than Demon Slayer.
Well, that's one thing I kind of wanted to touch on is I'm so glad that the new popular shonen that like a lot of people will be introduced to anime through is good. You know, it's not just this is what you feed the trough, the pigs coming to anime who are like, oh, anything is good, and they're just chewing up. Like, this is a quality show for people to get into, similar to like a Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, where they're coming in and it's an easy jumping on point, but it's got a whole lot to offer. And I don't mind that its popularity is deserving of its quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, Demon Slayer that has been taking over the entirety of the anime community. We've seen it in Japan too. It's not like just us, but like in Japan too, it took over the Oricon list for manga. The entire top 10.
The entire thing.
That is insane. Not even One Piece has done that. So this next movie better be good. No pressure, UFO table.
All right. Well, Mason, did you have additional comments that you wanted to go through?
I had a bunch of like listener comments, but we'll do that on the after party. I
Okay,
think
yeah.
no need to bog down this episode with more stuff. I think this was a very well done thing, though. I appreciate all the time you put into it, Mitz. You did solid.
I mean,
Solid. And all
it was
the people who obviously voted.
yeah. I mean, it was mostly the effort of hundreds of combined people who took the time to jump in and take our poll, and tolerated all of the social media messages and me yelling at them on Discord. You gotta go vote, please vote. And then it's like, oh, shut up, Mitz. What are you doing? So big thanks to everybody who voted. Thank you again to all the podcasts that nominated all of these different anime. Thank you to everybody who's supporting us on our website. And of course, thank you to JList.com, who also supports us. We will be talking more about the results of the after party and so much more. We'll be talking more about the results of the Anime Oscars in the after party, which is going to directly follow this, and and who knows where else that's going to take us. So, I hope everybody had fun. Any closing comments?
Big thank you to everyone who has voted and participated, and this is really fun to do. But also, if your favorite didn't win, please don't take it personally.
Yeah.
Everything was great.
And we'll be back next year with the 10th annual Anime Oscars. And until then, I am Mitsugi. Good night.
Bye, guys. Go watch anime.